why are you getting involved in common organizations? Why are you taking a position of leadership? And I guess there are many reasons, and I think that for me it always boils down to 4 key reasons why people do it. The first one is sort of the yichus. People do it because they sort of get status out of it, and they get a sense of enjoyment out of it. Their grandmother likes it, their mother likes it, their wife likes it, whatever, but they get a sense of yichus, and that's why they do it. Many people do that in our community. Some people do it because there's an expectation that they will do it. Their parents have done it, their parents expect them to do it, their community expects them to do it, their family expects them to do it, and so they do it to meet that expectation. Some people do it out of a sense of duty. A lot of people, I'm sure, sitting in this room do it because they feel they have a duty, that you feel you have to contribute to the Jewish community, you can't take it for granted, you've benefited from it. I hear lots of times from people who come through the youth movement trajectory saying, we got all this benefit going to youth movements, going on summer club, doing this and doing that, going on gap year. It's now our time to contribute. We have a duty to contribute. And the last one is because people have a belief, a vision. They have a view about how things should be, and they want to make sure that that vision, that belief actually takes place in some sort of form of reality. All of them are interesting reasons for becoming in leadership, and so I want to deal with each of those categories. First of all, be clear on why you're becoming a leader is sort of lesson number 1. So for yichus, the problem is with yichus is that lots of people basically derive their status from the organizations that they take these roles upon. And in reality, the best type of leaders are the people who bring their status to the organization. Because when you derive your status from an organization, it basically dissipates the energy that you're injecting into that leadership position. Because your energy is all about creating that status, and protecting that status, and preserving that status. And that sort of does no good for anybody. So, doing it for the yichus has a sort of short-term appeal, but it dissipates energy. And yichus is really an illusion in our community, because everybody cops and criticizes in any case. And if you don't do it properly, I mean, you're going to have a bad reputation, and essentially you're going to feel like a fool after a point in time. Because people will tell you you're a fool. I can't tell you how many times people told me, until today, told me what foolish things I'm doing, and that I shouldn't be doing them at all. So the sort of sub-lesson number 1, which comes from this main lesson, is, in fact, if you're involved in an organization, limit terms of involvement. It's the best way to ensure that people who do get into leadership positions because they're doing it for the yichus can't stay there for too long. One of the big mistakes that the UJA have made over time was not to limit terms, and I took too long to introduce term limits in the terms of trustees in UJA. And the result was that the people who were there doing it for the yichus crowded out the people who wanted to actually do it because they had a conviction. And that's not a good thing. So that's sub-lesson number 1 of my category of be clear on the way you're doing it. Let's look at the people who are doing it because they expected to do it. The expectation, the burden, the weight of expectation falls on their shoulders, and because of that, they step up to do it. It's a bad reason. It's probably as bad as doing it for the yichus. It's nice to actually meet other people's expectations, but the problem is you really meet your own. And in a world which is as complex as ours is, not to be able to meet your own expectations, I think, is a great tragedy. So if you do, in fact, get sucked in because of an expectation to do it, then I think you should at least try and do something which you can get yourself into, and you can get yourself to believe in. Because if you can't, it's going to be a very sad business, and you will end up stopping doing what you're doing, and you will be lost to the community. And I guess sort of therefore sub-lesson number 2 is you've got to be passionate, irrespective. If you cannot develop the passion, sort of go home. And if you can develop the passion, even though you end up in an environment where you're doing something which you don't want to do, it can actually grab you. I made a donation on behalf of my company to Kew Gardens to build the treetop walkway. Some of you might have been. It's actually a fantastic walkway to go. It says a little sort of side little ad, because you go up and you just walk along the canopies. It's tremendous for your kids. They love it. They enjoy it, and you should think about doing it. So the chairman of the Kew Foundation Trust came and visited my office. He was also the chairman of Barclays Bank, one of my main bankers, and he said, "You obviously show such enthusiasm for Kew. gardens, we want you to become a trustee. So there was sort of great expectation that I would do it, and I couldn't find a way of saying, I actually have no real interest in, fundamentally, in Kew Gardens. The only reason why we built the treetop walkway is because a friend of my wife's approached me and said that, you know, she's doing a doctorate thesis and this is a great thing and they can't find a sponsor and so why don't you do it, and so I did it. But it didn't actually demonstrate great interest in Kew. But I met the expectation. But because I'm a guy who can't do anything unless I'm passionate about it, I became passionate about it and I sort of started getting involved in it. And I started understanding that Kew is actually not about the garden, it's about the science. And it's about the science of preservation. It's about the science of trying to ensure that this planet actually can continue to support and sustain itself. And that is what it's all about. And I found a way into Kew, which I actually got, and which has now become quite satisfying. So if you have to meet expectations, become passionate, and you might find a road to get there. Sub-lesson number 2. The third reason why people do it is duty. Now, duty is a fine thing to actually follow. I mean, the Jewish religion is full about telling us to do our duty. You know, there's so many rules and regulations out of the Torah about saying, do this, you've got to do that, that's your duty, you know, you go and do it. And life, I guess, is about doing one's duty all the time. We citizens of a country, you know, create their sense of citizenship by performing the duties of a citizen. So it's a noble reason to do it. And if you never criticize anybody who has this inner sense of duty that they feel that they should do it, not that they're asked to do it, not there's an expectation that they'll do it, not because they think they're going to get great kudos from it, but they just feel that's what they need. That's what they need to do. But duty won't make you effective. And the worst thing in the world to do is to come into an organization and be ineffective. So you're there because you have your duty, you want to contribute, but you're not effective. And so you've got to make sure that you have clear goals as to what you want to achieve, but more importantly, that you have clear skills that you can bring to that organization. Because if you're not going to do that, you know, find another way of addressing your duty. And so sub-lesson number 3 is sort of make sure you have something to contribute. So duty is good, but before you take duty forward, make sure you've got something to contribute to that specific organization that you want to be in. And then the last thing is belief, conviction, which is clearly, I must say, is the finest reason to actually get involved. It's the very best reason to get involved in communal leadership. I mean, everything derives from conviction. I built my company Extrata because I had a sense of a conviction about what it could be and the world that it could operate in and where we could take it. And because of that conviction, that set of beliefs, that we actually created one of the great mining companies in the world. I moved into UJA with having had nothing to do with UJA before I took over as chairman, other than as being a donor, because I had a conviction as to what I thought the organization could do. I had a belief that we could actually change the nature of our discourse that this community has in its contribution with Israel, and moving away from sort of bleeding stump philanthropy, sort of emotive philanthropy, into strategic philanthropy, that we could make a series of investments in Israel which have strategic impact. And because of that, I wanted to do the job. So I think you have to have that, and it's sort of vital to have that conviction when you go into leadership. So it's a great thing to do, and it will bring momentum, and you'll bring followers. When people see somebody who has conviction, people will follow you, and they will come in and do it. So I'm going to end this part of the thing by saying, be clear as to why you're doing the job. But my last sort of sub-lesson number 4, is that all of that creates an obligation upon you. And that obligation is, finish what you start. The worst thing in the world is to have a conviction, have a belief, get it going, get a whole bunch of people to become your disciples, and then you get bored, or it becomes too difficult, and becomes too complex, and you face too many obstacles, and too many people are telling you doing the wrong things, and you deviate, and you stop, and you walk away. You kill the organization, you kill the people you brought on board. So just make sure that if you're going to start something, just make sure you've got the koach to finish it. So that's my sort of first sort of collective of lessons.